Okay, hey everyone, welcome back. This is Allie. Allie, what's your last name? Montagnan. Okay, sorry, I didn't put it on my notes
No,
yet.
that's okay.
Sorry about that. Hey, welcome to Go Local Live.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you here with Hope in Maine, and welcome to the Navigate and Credit Union Broadcast Center. So appreciate
you very
coming.
much. Yeah.
And look at all these fantastic little snacks we have. Exciting.
Yes, just a small number of the things that are made in our facility. We have over 80 companies that work in or are licensed at Hope in Maine, so it's very exciting times. Lots of snacks going around.
Lots of good stuff going on at Hope in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was looking at all the stuff going on at Hope in Maine and love a ton of the companies there. And you guys have been so successful. But let's talk a little bit about what Hope in Maine's mission is. Because I think a lot of people buy products and they're like, wait, what is Hope in Maine? Or what do they do over there?
It's a little bit gray for some people, and that's because our mission is multifaceted. So not only are we helping small food businesses get up and going, but we're trying to reach the community and educate people on the food system and make sure people know that vegetables grow in a garden and not necessarily in a can. And so we're trying to sort of extend the mission, not just food production, but also just encompassing the whole food economy.
Great. And you actually are a nonprofit, which
We are.
I didn't know. So why is that, and should it be, should it not be? Why are you a nonprofit?
Well, to each his own.
Yeah.
But in our sense of motivation, really, we want to help people. We're not in this to gain off of anyone. We really just want to do this for the betterment of our community and our fellow neighbors.
And so let's go back to really teaching people that food doesn't grow out of a can. Like your vegetables come out of a garden, which is fascinating. You have gardens in Hope in Maine, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about that education and being able to work with that.
Yeah, so our facility is sort of an all-encompassing food hub. So not only do we have an organic garden where we teach people where things grow and how things grow, but we also, take local produce, produce that into products like you see here on the table. Not all of these products are made with local ingredients, but many of them are.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do with the food scraps is actually compost it. And we have
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we have a relationship with the compost plant, if anyone's familiar with those guys. And so they come to our facility on the regular and they pick up a bunch of food scraps and take it to their industrial compost pile, and we get it back for soil in the spring.
That's neat. So
Yeah.
it really is all in Hope in Maine
full
really
cycle.
does everything
Yes,
there.
yes. So not only are foods being made, but we're also teaching people how to make foods. We have a ton of cooking classes that happen for kids of all ages. So it's pretty exciting.
So this really started out as a somewhat business, somewhat teaching, but really an incubator. And you've had a lot of success stories. Let's talk about some of those. I mean, people have really started out there and then have gone and opened up their own shops as well.
Yes, so a great example of that is PB Donuts. Everyone loves those donuts, and rightly they should. And so Lori and her team decided that they really needed a space to sort of get up and get going first. They wanted to pave the way for themselves, figure out a system, make sure they worked great together, and also to test out recipes and find out what customers were demanding, which clearly customers were demanding. And so as soon as they could, they really got on their feet and they got a space and they rehabbed the whole thing, and then they ended up basically just kind of taking over the east side now.
No kidding, right? I mean, lines and lines and lines.
Yeah, so we're still in touch with Lori, and so part of the membership is, she may not be producing in our building anymore, but she's still a part of our community, and so we'll bring her in for anytime we have an event that would make sense to her, and we continue to build on that with those graduates, as we call them.
Oh, graduates.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so what are some other stories that you've seen as graduates?
So another one is kind of interesting. So the Backyard Food Company, they make a series of these condiments, this great little jar down here. So they make a series of jams, relishes. That stuff is so good. It's actually my personal favorite item that they make. But they have actually started co-packing, which is basically when you license another facility to make your product under your recipe and your standards. It's theirs, they own it, but it's produced elsewhere.
Okay.
And so what that's allowed them to do is extend their distribution. So they haven't graduated out of Hope in Maine yet, but they've gotten to a level where they're really only producing 1 or 2 products in our house, if you will. And they're just distributing. So they have great regional distribution, which not all of these companies have yet. And that means they basically get on those big 18-wheelers and get distributed to large-scale grocery chains.
Wow. And so how do people really get into Hope in Maine? And what's the process like? And I would imagine a lot of people are applying.
It's pretty steady. So what you do is you basically go on our website. It's makefoodyourbusiness.org. Pretty easy to remember.
Yeah,
and there's an online application. So you basically just put your information. It's basic. You don't have to put everything in that application, but it's basically a way for us to get an idea of who you are, what you want to do. Then we bring you in for a consultation. You'll sit down with us, you'll get a tour of the facility, you'll find out if it's a right fit for you. And if it is, then we go through the motions of getting your paperwork and your licenses established, and then you become a member. And once you become a member, you get all sorts of advantages, like we'll connect you with different retailers. We have a list of over 80 retail locations where you can just walk in day one, say, hi, I'm a Hope and Main member, here's some stuff. And they'll at least put you on the shelves.
Yeah.
You do have to work to make sure you stay on those shelves, but we'll make it that easy for you.
And one thing you have coming up is the Meet Your Maker, which I love this idea. And I think it's really become somewhat of a trend where people really want to see what and who is behind their food. Why do you think that is?
I think the American people are becoming more educated about what we're eating and why, and how that relates to our health and how that relates to our well-being. And so we initially started that to get people into our building to find out what we were doing. So it was a clever way to, engage the community immediately and get them involved. But what it's turned out to be is this really great sort of demo space. So not only are customers able to come and buy some of their favorite products that they know they'll find, but they'll find a lot of brand new products as well. Companies that have never sold anything to anybody yet, people who are still testing recipes. So there's a lot of true startup companies. Unfortunately, I don't have an example of them today, but there's a company called Mesa Fresca. It's a brother-sister team, and they have developed a chimichurri that's based on their mother's classic Argentinian recipe. And they spent their first few markets really getting tests from customers and actually fielding those feedbacks. Do you like this one better or this one better? And they now ultimately developed their real product thanks to customer feedback.
Just based on what you were talking about. Yeah. Wow. So why do you think, going along with that, do you think Rhode Island, here in Rhode Island, we have such a love for food and such a connection to food.
Yes, we do.
Do you think that's even more important for us Rhode Islanders to really have that one-on-one connection with people behind our food and making our products?
Yes, absolutely. We're a small little state, but we have a very mighty food scene. So we've actually been partnering with a lot of great local food organizations like Relish Roti or A La Roti, and we're a part of those sort of campaigns, if you will. And we're just trying to bring people back to our roots. Rhode Island is a food state. People have nicknamed us Culinary Valley. So we're in the heat of it, and it's kind of exciting to be at the forefront of all of that.
And really, the heart of it is local, which I love. I've been in other places and I've lived other places, and I really think Rhode Island. I love the fact that there is so much local. And even when I go on vacation, I'm like, where's all the local stuff?
Yes.
Even just trying to buy stuff, I'm like, where's anything local? And that's what I think is so great just about this community. Even, buying local fish, local produce, local stuff that's made here.
Yeah.
And so you have Meet Your Maker coming up. It's this Sunday, and you're doing it's winter, and then you have spring too. So tell us a little bit about how you guys have continued that and you're expanding.
Sure. So Meet Your Maker happens once a month on Sundays, and instead of doing that once a month through the summer, we decided to just have a full-on farmers market. So not only can you find great products made in Rhode Island, but you'll find all sorts of other farmers market related vendors. So obviously farmers, fishermen, and then also any kind of artisan craft vendors that we can incorporate that makes sense.
Great. And so what did you bring for us today to shop?
So we have a variety of things. Mostly this is stuff that came in easy to cart packages.
Yeah, exactly.
So one of my newest favorite products here is the Oso Canyon salsa. This is a fresh packed product. So it has a short shelf life.
Love this design too.
Yeah, and actually I'll make a quick note about that. So this product came, it's a person who's a student at Johnson & Wales in a more advanced program. And so that is a logo designed by a fellow Johnson & Wales student.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's really fantastic, so he just kept it. But it's really, this gentleman is from New Mexico, and so this product basically means Bear Canyon, which is the region that he's from. And so he not only has this line of salsas, but he's incorporating this special New Mexican chili pepper into all of his products. So he does jams as well, which are the best jams I've ever had.
One of my best friends is from New Mexico, so as soon as we get done, I'm going to text her and be like,
yes,
guess who said I have New Mexican chili?
And I challenge you to find a better salsa. It is personally my favorite. It just has all of the right flavors that I'm looking for.
Oh, that's neat.
This is the Sacred Cow granola. So this is a spin-off product from Monroe Dairy. We all know and love Monroe Dairy, the big cow trucks. And so the short of it is that the owner of Monroe Dairy wanted a great granola to go with their great milk,
Do
and so
milk.
they developed
That
a
makes
product,
sense.
and now it's its own thing. So they started producing in their own kitchen a little while ago, and then they actually came to Hope and Main to expand. And they're one of the fastest growing companies we have. I think they have maybe 8 employees now in less than 2 years, and they really have beefed
All
up.
in Hope and Maine? Wow.
Yeah, and you can actually get a lot of these products off of the Monroe trucks. So if you're a Monroe customer, you can order Fox Point pickles and I think a handful of other items. So next up, Fox Point pickles. So that story originated here in Fox Point, and of course there's no commercial kitchens available. So
I know we're always like, no, we're not in Fox Point in Hope and Maine. Yeah.
Yes. So our spirit is in Fox Point.
Yeah.
But those are he's now got 4 different varieties of pickles, and they're just really good. Classic pickles, no fuss, no muss, but really bold flavors, and it's just it's definitely one of the fan favorites from the markets.
Is there usually one company that comes to Hope and Maine more than another, like canned foods versus fresh foods, or like
I'd say
coffee, baked goods?
Baked goods is usually the number one, but the interesting thing is that the bakers mostly make things fresh. So they're not in the building as much as the product makers. The granola folks are in the building at least once a week, if not 3 times a week, depending on the season. So every product is, and so the patterns in the kitchens change all the time.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. So what do you hope to see? What are your goals as we kind of wrap up here? What are the goals for Hope and Maine for 2017 and for the next couple of years?
So we're hoping to reach more people. Like we were saying at the very start of this, it's still a challenge to explain our mission, and it's still a challenge to get people to come all the way over to the East Bay to visit us. So one thing I'd like to encourage people to do is just come visit. Come to Meet Your Maker on Sunday. And if you can't come Sunday, we have another one next month, so no worries there. But really, we're just trying to get people out and educate people about what their local food system is doing.
Great. Thank you so much, Allie. I really appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing some of the other stuff. And I think I've had almost all of these because it's always good to support local businesses.
Thank you for doing that.
And startups and all of that as well. So thank you so much. We're going to get this cleaned up. And then,
excellent.
What are these?
They're spice market beans.
Market beans from Fox Point Pickling. I was going to say, I don't know if I've had these.
Those are the newest product that he offers.
Oh, that's why. Yeah. I was like, are these asparagus?
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll find those debut products at Meet Your Maker, so keep an eye out.
So to check out the newest stuff, you have to go to Meet Your Maker. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to get this cleaned up and then welcome on our next guest in just a minute. So be right back.